So going through the last 5 examples of translating into an argument and then comparing it and figuring out if it's number one, which type of the fundamental forms it is, and then whether it's the valid or the invalid form. So I've already went through 1 through 5 on the first video. I'll do the same on this video. If Las Vegas is a nice place to live, then it is a good vacation spot. Thus, Las Vegas must be a nice place to live because I know that it is a good vacation spot. So let's highlight some indicators. Thus, it's going to be a conclusion indicator because it's going to be a premise indicator. So we know that our conclusion, let's fill that in right now. It's going to be Las Vegas must be a nice place to live, or Las Vegas is a nice place to live. We'll just represent that with, actually, let's not use L. Let's do P. Las Vegas is a nice place to live. So the first premise, if Las Vegas is a nice place to live, if P, then it is a good vacation spot. We'll represent with V. And the last premise, I know that Las Vegas is a good vacation spot. Las Vegas is a good vacation spot. We'll represent with V. So it looks like a mixed hypothetical syllogism. We have one conditional and then 2 simple propositions. So let's go over to a mixed hypothetical syllogism where we're stating in the second premise the consequent. So we're affirming the consequent, which is our fallacy right here. If P, then Q, Q, conclusion P. That looks like it's invalid. So it is an invalid mixed hypothetical syllogism, and the fallacy that we're committing is affirming the consequence. Number 7, if the meeting starts on time, then I will be late. If I'm late to the meeting, then I'm getting fired. In conclusion, if that meeting starts on time, I'm getting fired. So, in conclusion, obviously is going to be our conclusion indicator. Let's fill that in first. Looks like all of these are going to be conditionals. If that meeting starts on time, let's go with M. If the meeting starts on time, then I'm getting fired. So if M, then F. So our 2 premises, if the meeting starts on time, then I will be late. If M, then L. And second premise, if I'm late to the meeting, then I'm getting fired. So if L, then F. We definitely have a pure hypothetical syllogism because it's all conditionals. Let's see if it meets the valid form. If M, then L. If L, then F. In conclusion, if M, then F. So you can see the L is working as kind of the middleman or the link between M and F here. And we have M in the correct order for the conditional. So it looks like it's a valid pure hypothetical syllogism. Valid pure hypothetical syllogism for number 7. If CSU wins the game, then I will jump for joy. Likewise, if I get a good grade on my test, then I will also jump for joy. Therefore, that's going to be our conclusion indicator. I know that if CSU wins the game, I will get a good grade on the test. Let's fill in our conclusion. I know that if CSU wins the game, then I will get a good grade on my test. If C, then G. So first premise, if CSU wins the game, then I will jump for joy. If C, then J. Second premise, if I get a good grade on my test, then I will jump for joy. If G, then J. Again, looks like a pure hypothetical syllogism. All conditional statements. Let's see if it matches the valid form. Q is acting as the middleman, the link. So it's both the antecedent and the consequent, or both an antecedent and a consequent in the premise. The J here is the consequent for both of the premises. And this was just an example, but it's the same invalid form here. So we have invalid, pure, hypothetical syllogism. Most of our homeworks and quizzes and stuff will have you write out the whole thing, but just because I don't have space, I'm just abbreviating. But invalid mixed hypothetical syllogism, valid pure hypothetical syllogism, invalid pure hypothetical. Okay, Fort Collins or Omaha is in Colorado. Omaha is not in Colorado. Thus is going to be our conclusion indicator. Fort Collins is in Colorado. So our conclusion is F. Fort Collins is in Colorado or Omaha is in Colorado. So F, wedge, O. Omaha is not in Colorado. So negation of O. So we have F or O, not O, and we conclude with F. This looks like it's going to be a disjunctive syllogism because we have a disjunction in the first premise. Let's go over here and look. Valid form is P or Q. We're denying or negating one of the two disjuncts and then affirming or stating the other of the two disjuncts. And that looks like what we're doing here. We're negating one of the disjuncts and then concluding with the other. So this is a valid disjunctive syllogism. Last one, it will rain today or the sun will come out. We can conclude that. It's going to be our conclusion indicator. It will not rain today because, as a premise indicator, the sun will indeed come out. So let's fill in our conclusion first. Always do your conclusion first so you know you have the correct order for the argument. We can conclude that it will not rain today. So conclusion is not R. It will rain today or the sun will come out. So R, wedge, S. And then finally, our second premise, the sun will indeed come out. So the sun will come out today. So this is another disjunctive syllogism. And we're affirming one of the two conjuncts, or one of the two disjuncts, and then denying the other. And it looks like that is the invalid form. So again, with the valid form, we have to negate one of the two disjuncts, and then our conclusion will be the other, that we know the other to be true, for the disjunction to be true. So this is an invalid form disjunctive syllogism. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.